Hi, welcome to the H for RL Career Podcast. I'm Jill.
And I'm Dave.
And today we're going to be talking about the most satisfying careers. So if you find this helpful, if you like the information that you hear, make sure that you subscribe, give us a thumbs up, 5 stars, whatever you can do to let other people know that this podcast is helpful. We really would appreciate it.
All right, so we're going to talk about most satisfying careers, as Jill said. So last time we talked about the careers that makes the most money. Today we're going to talk about the ones that really give you the best job satisfaction. And we're going to talk about what that means to have job satisfaction.
It's what makes you like your job in the long term.
Right. So we're going to do a couple of these individual type of more focused type of podcasts on different types of careers, aspects. And then we're going to do one that wraps them all up and try to figure out which careers are the best all around. And then basically tell you what majors lead to them. So we're also going to tell you what majors lead to these satisfying careers. So
Absolutely.
Let's get started. The main things that kind of go into job satisfaction are, one, you like what you do. First off, you kind of have to like what you do in order to enjoy your job, all right?
That's important.
It matches your interests, right? The next thing is you feel like you're making a difference. It goes without saying.
Makes you feel good.
Yeah, people want to have a purpose. They don't want to just go and make money. Well, some people just want to make money, but a lot of people want to actually have a reason for why they're going to work, like to have that purpose. So these careers all tend to have a purpose behind what they're doing. The next one is you're helping people. A lot of these jobs are oriented around actually helping people in different aspects, all right? So, because again, that kind of goes along with purpose. It kind of helps you feel like what you do really matters. Mm-hmm. Then you feel like you're treated well. So it's not just enough to help people, but you actually need to feel like other people respect you for what you're doing and that you're actually treated well by either your company or your colleagues, so that you feel like, yeah, okay, what I'm doing, I'm good at. I like what I'm doing. I get to help other people have a purpose, and other people seem to appreciate what I do. And the last thing is you feel like you do a good job at it. So you can actually enjoy something, but actually not be good at it. If that makes sense. It has to align to your strengths, all right? You have to be able to be good at what you do, and you just can have that natural talent to be able to do that.
If you think about if your job was lacking any of these things, you can see how disappointing that would be and how that would really kind of drag you down day after day. And so why these become the most important things for enjoying your job in the long run.
And you'll see me glancing down from time to time in this podcast if you're watching on YouTube, because I'm looking at our notes and cheat sheets. So there you go.
Oh, by the way, if you are just listening and you're not watching, we are going to have some slides pop up that have information about the jobs that you might want to check out.
Yeah, so hop over to your YouTube channel and watch this again if you want to see the slides that go along with it. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's get into this. So number 15 are teachers. Jill, what do teachers do?
Well, teachers teach people. Most often we think of them in a school with kids, but you could be teaching people of all different ages. Mm-hmm. But typically you're going to be kindergarten through 12th grade, and you're responsible for taking what the kids need to know using the materials you have, delivering that information, facilitating their learning, and making sure assessing them and reevaluating, moving on. Sorry, it's kind of a detailed answer because I was a teacher.
Right, she was a teacher. Now you can be, like she said, you can be teachers of students, like, K through 12 was what most people think about in public school, but you could also teach in a private school. Mm-hmm. You could also be a teacher of adults. Absolutely, like you go into like community colleges or post-secondary education. Mm-hmm. So you can absolutely teach adults if you don't really want to work with kids.
But the road to get there is a little bit longer than people may think. I think you might assume you can do that with a bachelor's degree, become a teacher. And often you can get started that way, but it's not going to be enough to make you highly qualified to help you continue in that profession. And so more training is going to be required, maybe even a master's degree.
That's good to know. So your median salary for teachers is in the range of like $61,000. Oh, by the way, all of these professions we kind of got off of the balancecareer.com. I actually looked at a lot of different websites, and I kind of agreed with their assessment first, because a lot of different websites actually will give you different rankings based on different criteria. I kind of read through their criteria, and I was like, I agree with those. And from our interviews on our website at h4rl.com, if you go in there and join the membership, and you get access to all of our interviews in our database, in our career exploration course, we kind of found out that what they're talking about kind of makes sense, because the people who tend to really like their jobs are people who tend to kind of have the same type of categories, like where they felt like they're helping people, they felt like they were respected. So we felt like how they ranked these careers kind of aligned well with what we've kind of learned. So that's where we got this information. But we're going to talk a little bit more. We're going to give you more information than what's just on that website. So why do you think teachers like their job so much?
Well, I would hope you go into teaching because you like working with kids, if that's who you're going to work with. And you really are, you're impacting them for the rest of their lives. I mean, you really are making a difference. If you are a teacher, you're spending all day, every day with those kids and really making a big impact.
So you're probably very high on that impact and you feel like you're helping people category, those 5 that we talked about. You probably, if you're going into teaching, hopefully you like teaching, right? So you probably have that high category there and you probably hopefully are good at it. So you also have that high strength. I think the one that you might debate sometimes, depending from your experience as a teacher, is like, do you feel really appreciated for what you do? Because I know sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. So honestly, there's some teachers.
For sure. And that's one warning I would give when you're looking at teaching as a satisfying profession. It absolutely can be. And I love being a teacher. But actually teaching in a public school, there are a lot of other things involved, a lot of other factors, and so for a lot of teachers, that's bringing the job satisfaction level way down, and some are even looking for other professions. So
absolutely.
It kind of depends, and there's just a lot of factors, so really look into it before you decide to do it.
So by the way, that also means, by the way, that you can really have satisfaction in your job. But there's other criteria out there, by the way, that also factor into it that may not make it a great long-term prospect. So that's why it's important for you to understand all the aspects that go into becoming a career. And again, you can learn those in our career exploration on our website if you want to join.
Right. We have a couple different interviews with teachers, and
Absolutely.
They're very enlightening.
They tell you the good and the bad about it. So there you go. So the median salary here is about $61,000. So, it's definitely on the high end like we talked about last time, but it's a livable wage for sure. You'll start out low. You will. Teachers usually start out low. But the great thing is you're in a union. So if you're in the public school system, so you usually have pretty good job security. Unlike other professions, it's a little harder for them to get rid of you. And if you stay in it, they actually have pretty good retirement benefits. So it's some pretty good long-term outlook if you want to stay in it as a long-term career. All right, number 14. Very similar to teaching, salary-wise. Just kidding. Surgeons. All right. What does a surgeon do, Jill?
Surgeons make a lot of money, don't they?
Yes, they do.
So a surgeon performs surgery. So there are a lot of different types of surgeons that are going to have different specialties, but they all have gone to medical school and then gone beyond that in a 4-year residency and trained to do more specific surgeries.
Exactly. So their median salary is $400,000, so definitely a big jump up from a teacher. And they probably get a lot of job satisfaction because you get to help people. A lot of times you're helping people who might need a replacement so they can get walk better, right? Or you're basically not healing people, but you're helping them overcome some kind of physical limitation or something that's wrong with them. So I'm thinking that's really where they get a lot of their job satisfaction. And obviously they're compensated well, and a lot of people respect them because they're very highly qualified individuals.
Right. I think probably they derive some satisfaction from just the skill level. They're highly skilled at what they do. And it's a way to help people, even if you're maybe not super social.
Right.
They're not always the most social, outgoing people, but they're still wanting to help people and very highly skilled.
So how do you become a surgeon? Is it the same way as a teacher?
Well, like we just said, you go through medical school and then that 4-year residency afterward for that specialized training.
So yeah, you're probably in the range of close to 12 years of education and a lot of bills. So that's one reason why they get paid more is because they're going to have a lot more debt than you would as a teacher coming out as well.
Because you've got the bachelor's degree, then medical school, then residency, so really 12 years.
Right. So number 13 is software developers. What do?
They develop software. So they're doing coding, right?
Right, yeah.
And designing computer programs.
So a lot of people think of when they think of software developers, they're going to think well, we're working for Google and Amazon, and absolutely those companies hire these type of professionals.
Good jobs.
And they're very much in high demand as far as there's lots of jobs out there. But their median salary is $72,000. People don't realize that's a very good salary, by the way, very livable wage. But it's not like there's hundreds of thousands of dollars that you might think of some people making in the tech industry. Now,
right, some do.
They do,
big companies,
but they usually have to live
everybody.
in more expensive areas like San Francisco and New York. So you need a higher salary to live out there because it costs a lot more to live there. But this kind of shows you right now that the median salary is $72,000. So it's much lower than that 6-figure job that you might be thinking is out there. That's because there's a lot of people in software developers, right? And a lot of small companies need software developers, and they're not going to be paying you this high figures. All right. So what kind of majors would you want to do to become a software developer?
Well, computer science would be a big one, right?
Yep.
Software engineering, data science. I'm looking at the cheat sheet here to help me out. Information technology.
Right. So you're talking about a 4-year degree probably to become a software developer. You could go on to get a master's if you wanted to, but really you could do this job with a 4-year degree. And actually in some cases, you'd probably be on the lower end of the pay scale. You could go to one of those software boot camps and become a software developer as well. But those are usually like, a couple of weeks courses and maybe 2-year course if you go to like a community college.
Yeah, you have to be careful about those boot camp things though. Really do your research because some lead to great jobs. Others might be a little more scammy.
Absolutely.
And I would guess that this is a field where if you want to move up into management eventually, you may be going for an MBA or something like that eventually.
Agreed, yes. All right. So number 12 is a psychologist. All right. We talked about a psychiatrist in our last podcast. This is different. This is a psychologist. What does a psychologist do and how are they different than a psychiatrist?
So we're in the mental health field here, right? Helping people with things in that sort of arena. So the psychiatrist we talked about last time is actually a medical doctor. And then they have gone on for their specialty in psychiatry. So they provide prescription drugs to help treat mental health issues. A psychologist has a doctorate, but they're not necessarily a medical doctor. So they're focused more on behavioral cognitive therapy type things. They might work in conjunction with a psychiatrist if medication is needed, but they're going to be more responsible for the therapy. There's also a counselor who does therapy like that, but they typically don't have a doctorate. So the psychologist is a pretty high level of education still. The counselor is a way to get into that field a little bit faster, but sometimes you end up needing to be supervised and things. So you need to look into which way you want to go in.
So what kind of majors would lead to psychology, to become a psychologist?
Well, like you said, psychology
is
a really good one. I didn't know you were going to ask me the majors, so I have to look again and cheat. Biology, neuroscience, education, sociology.
Yeah, so those type of majors. So again, it's at least a master's degree to become a counselor, right? And then a doctorate, so that's 4 years beyond your bachelor's to become a psychologist. So, and if you're going to go if you want to do that, that's great, but make sure you're going to go all the way through, or that you're happy with the kind of career you can get with just a bachelor's degree in, say, psychology and biology, because those are honestly going to lead to more entry-level type of positions in a lot of places, and you're not going to get the same kind of pay. Whereas a psychologist, median pay is $80,000, and they have a high job satisfaction, again, because they're helping people overcome their problems. So you really get that personal interaction a lot of times, get that satisfaction that you're helping them, and you're probably well-respected within that community. So and hopefully you're a good listener, and, that's part of your strengths as well as your interests.
Right. So you're really helping people a lot in this field. But what you said is very important about those majors at a bachelor's degree level. Make sure you know what you can do there in case you don't go on. It's really important.
Agreed. All right. Number 11, physicians. Now, we talked about these in the previous one, but we'll kind of touch on them again. Their median salary is $215,000. So again, highly paid individuals. What does a physician do, Jill?
Well, physician is just kind of covering all those general type doctors where you go to your office, they provide your primary care overtime, right? And so you go to your bachelor's degree, you finish that, and then you go to medical school, and then you choose your specialty within your 3 years of residency after that.
All right. And they would typically so again, you got to get your bachelor's and then you're going to go and get your doctorate and, become an MD. But as a bachelor's degree, a lot of times they take, courses that are going to help them with their medical school, which are such as human physiology, biochemistry, chemistry, and biology. You can go on and get any bachelor's degree you want and go into med school if you get accepted, but you will still have to take your prerequisite courses, which are primarily in biology, human physiology, and chemistry. So you're going to need to know those things anyway. So that's why people typically major in them. But again, make sure you're going to become a doctor or be happy with what you can do with those 4-year degrees. So number 10 is a physical therapist.
Top 10.
Yes. So what does a physical therapist do, Jill?
A physical therapist is in the medical field, and they've recently raised the requirements for becoming a physical therapist. You're actually going to have to get a doctorate in physical therapy. So there's a lot of education going into this. But they're not the doctor you go to for a sore throat, right? You're going to be referred to them if you need some help in a muscular, skeletal type way. So if you need to gain strength, if you need to recover from surgery, regain some mobility, they set up a plan and implement it to help you over time to become physically more stronger and able to do things.
So I actually years ago had to have surgery, and I had to have physical therapy after the fact, and I understood there was a physical therapist and they had a physical therapist assistant. So the physical therapist worked a lot with my surgeon after the fact to understand what the surgeon wanted me to do in order to get stronger, and then they kind of put together the program of like what kind of exercises and the schedule to get there. And they sometimes worked with me at one-on-one, but it was mostly their assistant who actually put me through the exercises that I had to do and do a lot of the stretching I needed to do in order to get my strength back. So if you didn't want to become a physical therapist and do that full doctorate, you could become a physical therapist assistant. So they do more of the hands-on work, and
it's like you have to be physically strong to do it.
Right. Yes.
It is demanding. But the physical therapy assistant, you're not going to need as much schooling to do it. But you're also not going to make nearly the same amount of money, and you're not in charge of the treatment plan.
Right. So you might have good, job satisfaction, but you may not have as much because maybe you're not in control and maybe you don't feel as respected. I'm not so sure. But the therapist was the one that was actually ranked on the number 10 here, and they make a median salary around $93,000, which is a very good livable wage. But you do have to get a doctorate, so that's a decent amount of schooling and debt you're going to take on to get this. And usually the majors in the bachelor's degree is around exercise science, kinesiology, biology, health sciences, and psychology. So a lot of those make sense. You're working with the muscles and stuff like that. You want to understand how all that works.
And once again, some of those know what you can do if you only have the bachelor's degree.
Right. All right. Number 9, nurses. All right, Jill, what does a nurse do?
Well, nurses care for patients. So they go to nursing school. They have their own program. And then there's a lot of nursing jobs out there.
Yeah, it's a great job as far as like job placement. And obviously they have high job satisfaction because, again, they're working with people one-on-one. You're helping people who feel sick feel better, right? I'm guessing, they like what they do. I'm guessing they like helping people, and they're probably, they have aptitude strengths that allow them to do that, empathy, and also this the wanting to help type of strength, part of their personality.
And they're working fairly independently, but they're under doctor's orders.
Yes.
But it is, again, a very physically demanding job.
It is.
In many cases.
You got to help patients get up. You got to sometimes turn them over. I mean, it's physical for sure.
Some of those patients are not small.
They are not. All right. Number 8, medical and health services managers. What do these people do?
So a medical and health services manager is managing a team of people that are providing medical services. So they're kind of on the business management side of the medical field. All
right. So these are, again, you're not entry level. You got to work your way up to this position. Some of the majors you might want to do to go into this would be like healthcare administration, right? Healthcare management, public health, right? Administration, nursing, even a business background would help you move up to this position after maybe you got like a undergraduate degree in like any of these other ones we talked about.
Right, but you're not going to move straight into this position. It requires some experience first.
Right. So the median salary is $125,000, so it gets paid well, and they have high job satisfaction because, one, they're managing a lot of people who are probably more directly helping people, so they feel like they're helping by helping them, right?
Right, they're in a helping field.
Absolutely. It probably plays to their strengths, right? And they probably, feel respected in their positions because they are managers, right? And, and they're in a hospital setting. So all these kind of play into the fact of them having high job satisfaction. All right. Number 7, human resources managers. All right, Joe, what do they do?
Human resources is the department of companies and pretty much anywhere where people are working that manages the workers. So it's hiring, firing, letting people go, when they come and go. It's managing all the benefits. They're kind of under human resources to some extent, and just any employee issues. And so the human resources manager is managing all the people who are making things happen in that department.
Conflict resolution goes through human resources. If employees have issues with their managers, that's when human resources have to step in as well to try to mitigate what's the problem between the employee and the manager. So they do a lot of that type of things. So again, it's the managers overseeing, the actual people in human resources. The median salary is $109,000. So again, 6 figures, making a good salary. So they probably feel well respected because you're a manager. You're in a business where your whole job is to help people with their careers, to hire them in, hopefully help them succeed in their careers, right? And to manage the benefit side. So you have that job sense of like you're making a difference in these people's lives.
Right. And once again, this is not something you come directly into.
No.
You work your way up to a management position.
So what would be the related majors for human resources?
Cheat again.
Yes,
Let's see. Human resources leadership, or human resources management. Education can lead to this, or organizational management.
Right. Actually, the director of all human resources at the place where I work actually used to be a principal. I think maybe a middle school principal. But so yeah, absolutely, from education, you can move into this type of role. Again, probably move your way up. So you don't have to go directly into human resources as far as your degree goes to get into this type of profession. Because as a principal, you're also managing people. So yeah.
True.
All right. Number 6, firefighters. What do firefighters do?
They fight fires.
That makes sense.
They work at a fire station usually, and so they're maintaining all of the equipment there, right? So they're responsible for that as well. And many firefighters are also EMTs.
Yep.
So they're responding to a lot of different types of emergency situations.
Yeah, so, okay, the median salary is $48,000. So a lot lower than, say, the doctors and the surgeons we saw earlier. But
it doesn't require nearly the same amount of education.
No, absolutely. That's a great thing about this. Like, if you don't want to go on to get a bachelor's degree, right? You don't think college is for you. You can go into firefighting because it's usually a certificate program, sometimes from community colleges. You got to go to fire school, obviously. And then, like he said, you also get like your EMT, emergency medical technician training. So you are the guys arriving on the ambulances. Many firefighters have both certificates. Now, it would be beneficial for you to get your bachelor's degree eventually if you wanted to become an officer, right? If you want to become a lieutenant and move up. Usually those positions, they like to see the bachelor's degree. We have a friend who is a firefighter, a great one at that.
His interview's on our site. And he has his bachelor's in psychology, and he didn't know he wanted to become a firefighter. He eventually came at route, but he actually said it's more of a calling than it really is a career. He really feels like it fits him to a T, and he loves it. And so he does do that. He actually got additional training to go do like the, water rescue, confined space rescue. It fits him to a T. So if you're a person who likes physical activity, it is a very physical job, likes to work in teams, really wants to help people, like you want to have a strong sense of purpose where you actually really are rescuing people from fires or saving them when they're having a heart attack, or, you really do have a strong sense of purpose with this job. And again, community
among the
other firefighters.
Absolutely. It's a very strong community because you have your team and you're always there. You cook and you cook meals together. You actually watch movies when you're not being called off. So it really is
work out.
You get paid to work out. So it's a very strong community sense. And they do take care of you once you put on your time. Your retirement is pretty good as well. So it is a good job, again, if you're not really that person who wants to go on to get college, but you still want to do, maybe a physical type of job and have that team atmosphere. So that is number 6.
Ooh, we're to the top 5.
Top 5. All right. Number 5 is a dentist. What does a dentist do?
Dentists care for your teeth. So they usually have a hygienist working for them who's going to clean your teeth, but then the dentist is responsible for coming in, checking, making sure there are no issues like cavities that need to be addressed. And if so, they're the ones that are going to do those more involved procedures.
So this is a doctorate degree again. So well beyond your bachelor's degree, you get your bachelor's and then you have to get another, I think, 4 years of education to become a dentist, right? a lot of debt, but you're going to get paid well. Like the median salary is $173,000. But again, you're going to have a couple $100,000 of debt to become that, but you'll be able to pay it off down the road. Your majors you're going to want to do for this is like biochemistry, physics, biology, physiology, all the same things for pre-med, because it basically is a medical degree. It's just you're doing dentistry versus just a medical doctor, as in you go for your family physician. I want to caveat this. So they have job satisfaction because you get to help people, right? People have problems with teeth, you get to help them. You are respected because, you had to, it's hard to become a dentist. It takes a doctorate, something to get to, and you make good money. But on the flip side, some of the people that have the highest depression are dentists. I looked this up. So I have this again was from that website we talked about earlier. But so they have high job satisfaction, but yet they also have a high sense of depression. I'm not exactly sure why they have high sense of depression, so we won't get into all that because I don't really know why, but it's
something to look into.
Something to think about a little bit, even though you can be satisfied in your job, but also have depression issues. So
well, it may also not be the same people in that field.
Very true.
That are on both lists.
All right, number 4 is a conservation scientist. All right, what does a conservation scientist do, Jill?
Conservation is anything that's working to preserve our environment. And conservation scientists, are out there gathering data that can inform them about a certain area and what is helping or hurting that environment. And then they can test measures that they think may impact that environment and make recommendations to individuals or companies that might have influence on that land.
So they absolutely manage our natural resources in a lot of ways. Now, obviously the reason why they have high job satisfaction is because they're making a real difference in the world, right? You're working with some people, like sometimes ranchers and also different type of people own land and property, like the government. But you also are trying to help preserve that land and protect it, right? And sometimes study it, right? Mm-hmm. To help prevent environmental impacts down the road and preserve it for future generations.
So they often get to work outside.
Work outside, absolutely. So if you're someone who really wants to you really love the outdoors, and
in any kind of weather.
In any kind of weather, but you work outdoors and you want to work with some people and have high job satisfaction, this might be a great career for you. So the median salary is around $63,000. So definitely a livable wage. Not as high as a doctor, but you don't require the same amount of education, so you won't have the same amount of debt. So to go into this, you probably want to go into forestry or environmental science, agricultural science, rangeland management. These are some of the top majors that people have when they go in to become an environmental scientist or a conservation scientist.
And you can probably get started just with your bachelor's degree.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Number 3 is a chiropractor. What do chiropractors do?
Chiropractors are dealing with your skeletal system, right? Really muscular as well. And so anything that's out of alignment, causing you pain that might have to do with that, they're going to know what to do to fix it. They put you in really strange positions and crack things.
Yes, I actually been to chiropractor when I was younger. I used to play football and I had some back issues. And they really do pick you up and just crack you and move you in all different positions.
Crazy.
Your back really hurts and you're like, oh no. And they do it and then it feels a whole lot better. And they do some other things. They take x-rays and they do kinds of stuff with your muscles to kind of relax them. So
I went once and I was very relieved that I was still in one piece and could move afterward.
It's somewhat physical because
it didn't seem good.
Right. It's somewhat physical because you got to pick people up and maybe, rotate them and crack them in different positions. It is a doctorate degree, so it's 8 years of education. So you're going to have some debt, but the median salary is $155,000. So they get paid quite well. So you'll be able to pay off that debt down the road. Some of the majors that lead to this are similar to some of the other medical fields we've seen, such as health sciences, but a little bit more like sports medicine and athletic training, because you're doing a little bit probably more with sports injuries a lot of times. Biology, exercise science, biomedical sciences, kinesiology, and chemistry. These are some of the majors that lead into becoming a chiropractor. Mm-hmm. So if you want to come, maybe if you like helping people,
you're going to be very hands-on with people.
Very hands-on. More hands-on, I would say, than probably other doctors,
And it's kind of a way to sort of be in the medical field but not have to deal with anything on the inside.
Right. Well, I don't think so. I don't know that for sure, but yeah, you're probably not so much on the inside.
I'm sure they have to learn about it, but
Right.
Yeah, not like other doctors at medical school.
Right. You may not be dealing with people who are sick. You're just dealing with people who have back end pain issues, and you're trying to help relieve that pain, where the job satisfaction comes in, as well being highly compensated and respected. So that's why they have high sense of job satisfactions. All right. Number 2 is actually a chief executive officer. I found this a little surprising. What do they do, Jill?
A CEO they run a company. They're the top person in a company, providing that big vision and directing the overall operations.
So, and I thought about this. I think the reason why, if you look at those criteria for job satisfaction, they're definitely respected. You're the top person in your company. They probably have great leadership skills, so it aligns well with their strengths. They probably like being in charge, so it aligns with their interests, right? And they probably feel like they're helping people by making the company more profitable and giving people jobs, right? If it's successful, you're going to be hiring more people, and people, need jobs in order to support their families and stuff. So,
and some of them are making a lot of money.
The median salary is $786,000.
Not bad.
Not bad, whatever. Yeah. The thing is,
I could live on that.
This is a very few people make it to this position. So understand, this isn't like a lot of these other ones, like a teacher, which a lot more people can just go and do. You're the single highest person in your one company. So it takes a lot to get to this position, not just education-wise, but just from a working experience and actually sometimes opportunity-wise.
Especially one of those where you are making that high amount of money.
Oh, for sure. The really big businesses, you can make in the millions and millions of dollars, but again, very hard to get to those positions. Now, the related majors are going to be like finance, business, even computer sciences, healthcare administration, management, and engineering are like the top majors people have who go on to become CEOs. A lot of times they start their own companies, by the way. That's why you see the engineering and computer sciences in there. And they kind of move up to become the CEO, and then sometimes move on and bring in someone else who has a business background. But you probably will want to go on and get a master's in business administration no matter what your bachelor's degree is, if you want to go become a CEO, because you're going to do a lot of business. All right. Number 1.
Top job.
Top job. That with the highest job satisfaction is clergy. What are clergy, Jill?
Clergy works for a church. They're like your minister or your pastor. They're the person. There are different jobs you might have if you're in a big church, but they are responsible for preaching on Sunday mornings and also kind of caring for the congregation.
You can see why this is a high job satisfaction, because a lot of interaction with people. You're absolutely helping people through their entire life, from children on up. You're giving them a sense of hope, so you have that sense of purpose in your life. And you probably feel well respected within your church and your community, right? And it probably hopefully leads to your, aligns well with your interests to help people, as well as your strengths to actually be able to help people and be actually somewhat of an administrator, because you're going to have other people around you. You have to be able to delegate, by the way. So it's not just, you can't do it all. So it's interesting here. On this slide, we actually showed there's 2 sets of numbers. You have the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics salaries ranges, as well as the salary.com, where all the other salaries on our slide came from. I wanted to show this because salary.com shows the median salary being $101,000, which is quite good. But the BLS shows the median salary being $51,000. I think the BLS actually takes into account a lot of the smaller churches out there, right? So, and the smaller churches are not going to pay nearly as much. Actually, my father was a pastor earlier in my life, and we were of a very small church, and they really do not pay well. The small churches do not. They just can't. So I think that the salary.com is for larger churches, probably have more of those type of people putting the salaries into that database. So just be aware of that. You want to probably check this out from an economic standpoint. But it is a job that has a tremendous amount of job satisfaction. It seems it's number 1 on our list. If you're going to go into this, you probably want to get a bachelor's of arts in religion, theology, divinity, even some philosophy and literature are some other ones that people have. Now, one thing I do want to caveat is a lot of churches will require you to go on to get more than just a bachelor's degree. They'll require you to go to seminary, which is an additional 3 to 4 years of education. And some might not require that, but most require at least a bachelor's degree, and then sometimes additional testing and training through the specific denomination you go into. And then, by the way, you don't actually have to be a pastor. You can actually become a chaplain in the military, or a chaplain like in hospice, where you're taking care of people in hospitals. that's another way you can actually do this and not necessarily have to be a pastor itself. All right. So that is our all top 15 of the jobs with the greatest job satisfaction. Next time, we're going to be talking about jobs with the best career placement. So if you found any of these, I probably should wrap this up. So the top majors, I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, we got to know what are the top majors to do if you want a satisfying job.
I got ahead of myself. All right. The top ones are health sciences. All right, because a lot of those are in the medical field, right?
That led to several of those jobs today.
Education, because education is found in several of those different ones that you can go into. Mm-hmm. Engineering, by the way, believe it or not, is ones that lead into some of these. Psychology, computer science, and then nursing in order. So those are all the top majors that lead to satisfying careers. Like we always say, you want to look at the careers first and then figure out what kind of majors lead to those careers, not the other way around. So we really like firefighter and EMT because that doesn't require a college education if that's a type of job that you'd be interested in. So it's a great one to go into.
And environmental and agricultural science is on there because that's another one you can just get a bachelor's and jump right in.
All right. So if you like this, if you found it informative, if you found it helpful, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell down below if you're watching us on YouTube. Give us 5 stars or highly rate us on any of the podcasts that you're listening to. It really does help us out. Get this out there and have other people find us because we are a new company and we really would like to get this out there more. So anyway, thanks for listening, and we visit our site at h4rl.com.
The number 4.
In case you want to join and join our career exploration, we have a free trial, and you know what? We'll help you figure out what type of careers will help make you the happiest. As far as like all these different things we're talking about, your strengths, your interests, your career values, great job outlook and stuff like that. We had that all taken care of with great interviews on there with people actually in the field, so you will know the good and the bad before you start it, and a database that searches literally hundreds of jobs. So
right, there's a lot more to finding the career that's right for you than just knowing which ones make the most money or other people find to be the most satisfying. There's a lot that you need to know lining up those jobs with your own personality and goals, and we've got some tools to help you with that.
So again, check us out at h4rl.com. That's homeschoolforreallife.com. That's basically what that stands for. And again, like we have a free trial going on right now. Come check it out and you can check it all for free and see if it's for you. Okay, until next time, I'm Dave.
And Jill, thanks so much.